Hi, intrepid viewers, I'm back, and I wanted to do this reading because I wanted to make a really clear difference between the stock market and the economy. Okay, they're really different animals. The stock market, in a way, and I worked in the stock market for 6 months at one point, couldn't believe it, but the stock market essentially is like a giant betting agency. Betting 365. So it's investors looking at the form guide, like racing gamblers do. So they read in the business news that, some new technology is going to break through, and so they'll invest in that, and some filthy mine is going to open somewhere and they'll follow that. And they take bets on that, essentially, with stocks and shares. The economy is different in the sense it's actually real money and sort of cyber money in one way. I don't mean cryptocurrencies, but money that is and isn't actually there being moved around. So we tend to sort of put the two together, but they are a bit different. So I'm now going to do the economy for the first 6 months of 2019. Okay, just a moment, I have to pause. Sorry, just had to let someone in. Okay, so this is going to be the economy, the US economy, first 6 months of next year. Let's have a look. And while I'm shuffling the cards, something that's been brought to light is that Trump's illegal workers, not illegal, undocumented workers at his golf courses have been given fake green cards. Now, this is quite different from being paid under the table. Now, when I was living in San Francisco in 1979, I went for a job and as a legal secretary or something in those days, and they said, "Do you have a green card?" And I said, "No." And they said, "Oh, never mind, we'll just pay you less, start on Monday." This is not a new phenomenon, obviously. So it usually means that people can pay people less. And that was a big law firm cutting corners. And the same with the Trump stuff. But it's worse because I wasn't given a fake green card. The difference is huge. They're actually issuing fraudulent documents. One of the most prized possessions in the known world, the green card, and they're just printing them off in the back alley and giving them away. Now, the Trump family has been using undocumented immigrants to service their homes, their hotels, their golf courses, and Junior's vineyards. So God knows what's happening in all those southwest states that are totally dependent on undocumented labour in the agricultural industry and so forth. He's threatening to shut the border completely, although it seems like he can't actually do it. But who would know? He's always pushing the envelope. So this can't be having a good impact generally. So let's have a look at the economy. I'll do the same as I did for the stock market. I'll do the first 3 months, then the second 3 months. So this is January, February, March. January. February. March. All right. Okay. Now, same way, because there's so many cards to get through, I'll move quite quickly. Group work, group endeavours. Funnily enough, with this, it can mean black money in the sense of the Black Pentacles, but it's also about paying a person decently. So this couple who do have money, this medieval couple, are going to the best stonemason for their product. So it's symbolic in this context of this reading on the economy of paying people decently for the work they do. This this card's coming up all the time in all sorts of readings. In a personal reading, it's usually a very nice card of someone who's educated and genteel and who cares and has a sophisticated understanding of the world. But equally, it can be someone who's a bit disassociated, like privileged and not quite in touch. Also, there is the hedge, and we've got to always be alert what's behind the hedge. But it's not a horrible card. It's a bit of an out-of-touch card. And more of these GOP spokespeople keep saying things that make you realise they have no idea about their actual constituents' lives. So remember in a recent video, viewers, I was talking about tribalism. I think in the heartland of the red states, people will vote for someone like Jeff Sessions or these various people in Alabama or Arizona or something, and they'll vote because they're their tribe, they're from here, not because they have their best interests at heart. They actually don't have a clue about people's lives. But tribalism wins. Okay, then we have the world. So this is saying in January, the US economy is not divorced from the world economy, even though Trump is doing his best to cut it off. What the US does affects the world, and what the world does affects the US. Duh. So Brexit is going to have repercussions towards the US, just as the US madness of Trump at the economic wheel is going to have on the world. It's also often a completion cycle. There's a bit of a treadmill effect here, but the completion of a cycle. So it could be representing the world economy, which, as we all know, is under major stress. So January, that's it. February, a bit of a retreat or a bit of a respite for a minute. And this is the card of retreat. Okay, so deals being made across the board. All sorts of deals and pacts being made in February. And the Queen of Swords, clarity and judgment and precision and truth looking at these deals. I'll just digress for yet another moment, viewers. With all these trickle-down economics, and I see a lot of you have commented on that, part of its idea too, which goes back to Thatcher in Britain and Reagan and so forth, was public-private partnerships, PPPs. What are public-private partnerships? Well, they're a way for the government to get out of building hospitals and schools and roads and infrastructure. So you put your tender out. We, the government of a state or a country, we need this massive highway. So then who wins the tender? Well, that would be your mates, right? And then your big business partners take very little risk, because these contracts, if you look at a public-private partnership standard contract, whether it's Australia or the US, the capitalist investor puts up X money to build the road, and then the government underwrites it to make sure, because the public's got to use it, that it will finish getting built. And then when the venture capitalist takes shortcuts on the actual building of these things and they fall down or they cause problems later, they just change the name of their business. Also, there's often a clause, if they don't make the profit they expect to make from the toll road or whatever, the government will bail them out again. So they're actually not taking great risks and getting great rewards in the spirit of free capitalism. No, they're protected. It's corporate welfare again. This is going to be my mantra for 2019. Stop corporate welfare. So what I'm seeing here is a bit of this. If you look at the two most recent sort of infrastructure disasters in the States, there was the Amtrak train accident and there was that pedestrian bridge in Florida. Both of them were privately built. Both of them were new. If you know construction workers, and I talk to a lot of guys in construction, they're saying the standards of building and everything are shocking now. So that's what this is all about. I'm raving, but it's important because it affects workers' health and safety and people's lives as well as the economics. So all this money gets shoveled back into the private sphere. But I think it's going to be looked at. And this is an issue for Democrats. They must look at this. Okay. Now, March. King of Pentacles, the greedy king. This is back to the influence of Trump. I think as the tariffs kick in, again now, for example, billions of dollars having to be paid to protect soybean farmers who had the rug pulled out from under them with the stupid China tariffs. So money goes hemorrhaging out of the system, but we're told there's never enough money for schools and hospitals, but it just runs down the street after these stupid projects. So this is part of the idiocy of the Mad King. People are going to have an emotional reaction in March. I think we're going to hear a conversation that there could be a pending recession because of this previous corporate behaviour and government's failure to act and government's failure to rein in Trump. And people, I take this to be Democrats and Republicans fighting each other, but there's not a clear winner. Okay, so that is a drag on the economy. Okay, so now we're going to look at April, May, June. So to sum up the first 3 months, we're going to see some nervousness, I think. When we say nervousness in the markets, we're usually talking about the stock market, of course, and we are going to see volatility there, there's no doubt. But in the economy itself, I think as the new young Democrats come in who are upfront about having a democratic socialist agenda and so forth, people are going to be talking about this. The shutdown means people are going to be talking about the money that gets wasted. With Caligula's whim of the shutdown, it costs hundreds of millions, and now he's frozen the wages of 2 million workers. You know. So his petulance and bad behaviour is costing the economy inconceivable amounts of money. April, May, June. Queen of Pentacles turns up again. So, it's April. No. All right. So in April, this is when Trump's illusion, delusion is fully exposed. Not fully exposed. I doubt we'll ever get to the bottom of it all, but is exposed. It's highlighted clearly. That'll be through court cases, but it'll be self-evident by this time. He's halfway through this presidency. He cannot hide his stupid ideas anymore. The reactions and the consequences of those ideas are now kicking in. And the Queen of Pentacles is not happy. All right. Now, I'm going to sort of thinking about the Queen of Pentacles. Oh, she's one of those cards, isn't she? Again, we're talking economics, not a literal person. But it is a female energy around money. And I think women worry about the waste. This card, if you look at it, look, this is the person who's dazzled by all that stuff. Dazzled by the trappings of wealth. People are in debt. This is a card of a gambler and also debt. And it tends to be women who worry more about the debt. So I'm giving this a sort of novel interpretation, but that's what I'm intuiting quite strongly, where in April that women are starting to really worry. Generally, men and women are going to be a bit sick of this image. You know, this is like promising huge tax cuts to the rich and pennies in the form of little tiny baby tax cuts that people wouldn't even notice, wouldn't pay a dental bill, for everyone else. So the gap is widening between the rich and everyone else in America. It's no longer about the rich and the poor, it's the rich and everyone else. Now, coming into May, the Hierophant steps in, and this is indicating to me there's going to be some more formal interventions in the economy. The Hierophant is about structure. So this could be another rate rise. Where are we? May. This could be another rate rise, or it could be some more formal market intervention. The economy gets a bit stronger, and it's good as a central card to this, that there's a strength and resilience to the economy, but no thanks to lawmakers. And this isn't just Trump's problem. This is a bigger problem. It's an American problem nationwide, but it's the world. The economic power shifts that are going on. Remember, we just got the world card before. We are living through a time of transition, and the wealth is transiting out of the traditional first world countries, the Anglo sort of power bloc, into the Asian bloc. And this is an embattled economy. June. After the Hierophants had their way, and this could also be speaking to people going to court for abuse of public funds. Abuse of public funds, not just Trump, lots of people. There has been a dreadful theft. In fact, oligarchy is not even the right word anymore, viewers. I think we should start calling it a kleptocracy, where a certain band steals money from the nation. And that's what's been happening for many years. But I think you're going to see more people being charged with theft, and can be politically related or just bad, corrupt practice at probably at state level and even regional level. I'm thinking smaller, because there's the huge Trump stuff going on here, but I don't think that's it. I think this is smaller stuff where governors and people like that on that more local level have been corrupt, giving out tenders maybe to their friends, as I was describing earlier. Things like that. I think we're going to see more legal issues around public theft. In June, these same people and their supporters, those who have been taking money from the public purse, that can be for doing a job that you don't do, or doing a shortcut and doing it badly, or just jobs for your mates, they're going to be lying about it. Full-time job, lying about it. We have the Knight of Wands coming in, the cautious knight. So this is attempts made. I would say, I've got to feel it's a bit about the Democrats, but the Democrats have to clean up their own house too in relation to this stuff. The cautious knight, trying to point out these illegal acts, and in some cases they might not be illegal but should be. Okay, so for example, the whole Uranium One thing, I don't think necessarily Hillary and Bill should be charged because they did anything illegal in Uranium One, but what was legal shouldn't have been. It's like the tax avoidance stuff. Oh, I can do all this stuff and it isn't illegal. Well, why not? We know what the loopholes are. Why aren't these loopholes, closed up again. Makes me really cross. Fundamentally, I get cross because the argument against spending more on schools and hospitals and stuff is, oh, we'd like to, but there isn't enough money. But they can always find money for these sort of stupid things. Anyway, not a good card, you'd have to say, for the last card of June, out in the cold. I think all the shenanigans that have been going on are going to come home to roost. By mid-year, it's going to be very hard on the economy, and I think tipping into a recession around June. But you know what? It's like everything else in this mad time we are living in. It just, the ghastly practices that have become normalized for people in power, this is not just about America, corrupt regimes everywhere, just self-serving government ministers, 3-year cycles, how can I keep my ass covered? No 20-year visions. We're not hearing it in Australia. No one has a 20-year vision of what we should be doing. Same in the States. We are all going to lose momentum economically because we have failed to confront the difficult issues like climate change, transiting to clean energy. We've all lost 30 years where we could now be powering ahead. I won't rant anymore, viewers. So, I think it will be a bit grim by mid-year. I think you'll be hearing the R word, right? But again, it's like it has to happen in order for other conversations to be had. If the economy is just purring along, then someone like Ocasio-Cortez gets told she's this, utopian, dippy, sort of young thing who has no idea how the world works. It has to be inverted. It's time to make the wealthy accountable. Why are we in all these countries supporting corporate welfare? End corporate welfare. You want to fund a good project over here? Take it from the pot. We in Australia subsidise the coal industry for immense sums of money. But people resent a single mother with 3 kids getting a few coupons or subsidised childcare. But it's fine to give the big companies the world. I will not go on, as I said just a few minutes ago, but I did go on.